Doom, doom, doom.
Tales of
The Fourfold Path.
brought to you by
Dungeons
and Dragons.
Welcome to the world of Greyhawk, where promise may transcend its own reward and whispers of threat stir anew. In the bustling Viscounty and river town of Verbabank, caravans set out across the central Flanness toward distant lands, carrying goods, news, and travelers pursuing fortune. To the south, the timeless realm of Selene stands apart under its elven queen, proud and secretive, even as tensions grow at its borders. Though peace still holds, rumors spread along trade roads of strange happenings, shadows in the wild, forgotten powers stirring. So the paths of wanderers and would-be heroes converge, setting in motion a tale of danger and destiny that will carry you far beyond humble crossroads where this journey begins, faced with choices that can shape the fate of kindred and kingdoms. These are the tales of the Fourfold Path. One DM, one player, 4 heroes, and
Yes.
realms of adventure.
Yes.
John, how are you feeling?
Yes.
As excited as I am. We begin this tale deep within the Argent Lyceum, a prestigious magic school near the Civic Center along the East High Gate of Verbabank. Candles guttering low in the vaulted chamber, their light glinting off shelves stacked with vellum tomes and crystal vials. Elwiz. For weeks now, you have bent mind and will to the mysteries of the arcane, glyphs traced in chalk, sulfuric sparks flaring at your fingertips, illusions flickering into shape and vanishing again. Tonight, your final test ends not with failure, but triumph. Instructors murmur approval, their expressions tinged with quiet pride. You have excelled. Word of your promise has carried beyond Verbabank. A sealed scroll arrives, bearing the crest of Selene, the silver moon upon green. Within, Anselvin, chief advisor to Queen Yolanda herself, extends a rare invitation to present yourself in the elven capital city of Enstad as an initiate of the Bladeslingers, an elite order of elven warrior mages, guardians of the kingdom's deepest secrets. It is said that no non-elf has ever walked their path, nor mastered their hidden art of the blade song, and yet your name, Elwiz, your name alone, above friends and rivals, has been chosen.
Estimable novitiate. Elwiz of Verbank. This is a quite beautiful scroll, and I am wondering if I can live up to such an invitation.
Well, the words linger in your thoughts long after the wax seal is broken. However, the road to Enstad is long and uncertain. At its end lies the chance to fulfill a new dream, and perhaps to wield blade and spell in ways undreamt of by your teachers.
Yeah, the graduation and moving on to something happening that I hadn't expected, that is an honor. It's a lot to think about, but I'm arrogant enough to know that I'm going to be fine.
Yeah, and it's okay if you think of any questions along the way, feel free to ask them. If Elwiz feels it's perfectly normal that they should be getting this kind of invitation.
I don't know if it's normal that I should be getting this, but I do feel that I am deserved of such a thing and honored at the same time.
There you go.
I'm humbled, but yet expecting that good things are going to happen.
Excitement grips you at this rare opportunity, though the realities of leaving Verbabank soon follow. The journey south to Enstad spans nearly 30 leagues, and the way is not without risk. Okay, so I'll give you some options here. You might book passage with a merchant caravan, traveling in the safety of numbers. You could attempt the ride alone with a horse and provisions, though whispers of brigands and banditry make solitude a perilous choice. Or perhaps you might find a fellow traveler headed the same way.
I think there's something to be said for possibly a companion who is up to the task, who might have abilities that are not quite as great as mine. As much as I'm not afraid of much of anything, maybe a companion would be a good idea, the right companion.
You search out a companion, okay. Before departing the city, you ask around the markets and stables if any others are bound south towards Anstad. Caravans are gathering, wagons loaded, but one name comes up more than once. A woman who arrived days ago, waiting for safe passage. You find her at the edge of the caravan yard, checking the straps of her pack. It's a broad-shouldered human in road-worn armor stands there, a battle axe across her back, an emblem of the pole star above a milky nebula glints faintly on her shield.
Wow.
She looks up as you approach, meeting your eyes with a steady nod. She says, headed south as well? Good. They say brigands haunt the road, and worse stirs in the marshes. Pal's the name, and if you'll have it, we can make our way together. So, John, no pressure. This is a good opportunity to practice role-playing how Elwiz and Pal might get to know each other.
Hey, how's it going? I think that you seem like the kind of travel companion I'd want, but I'm not sure. You might be a little too much caught up in your own head.
Does Pal deem Elwiz trustworthy enough to hit the road together? 30 leagues is about, depending on the rate of travel with horses, it could be anywhere between 6 to 8 days.
6 to 8 days is a long time to spend with someone I might not trust.
Exactly.
Do I trust you? I don't know. Give me a reason. You can trust me. You can trust me. I'll tell you why you can trust me. And it's not because I say a lot of things that are very trustable.
Yeah. If you have to say, if someone has to say they're trustworthy, are they?
I can prove very easily that I'm trustworthy because I can protect those who are with me and show them the right way to journey into unknown territories. In less than a day, I'd say, the trust will be there. At least from your standpoint. I don't know, Pal. Can I trust you?
Yeah.
Pal likes to sing, and people who sing tend to be very gratuitous about their own voice. And
Is
I
it a
don't know if
facade
that's-
or a mirror to the soul? This is just kind of these two characters being genuine with each other. Now, if they wanted to try to persuade one another or kind of establish understanding of each other, we could make it a role as far as like Elwiz trying to persuade Pal that they're trustworthy. Let's just play that out. If Elwiz tries to persuade Pal, and let's just say that Elwiz rolls that and rolls poorly, that means that Elwiz didn't really sell it too well. Pal's going to have some initial trepidations around it, maybe, depending on how you want to play it. So whether you roll that type of interaction or not, it's really going to pan out in how they kind of play along with each other as characters.
I'm okay with letting things pan out if Elwiz doesn't betray me.
There you go. If the first thing Elwiz does is cut and run, that's pretty telling.
Fine. I'm cool with that too. I think that's a really good way to approach things, and I will play along because I'm a happy-go-lucky, play-along kind of elf wizard.
Yeah, until things get serious. With your packs readied and the promise of dawn upon you, the two of you set out from Verbabank side by side. The waking city stirs behind, merchants calling as they open their stalls, wagon wheels groaning, the distant toll of a temple bell. Soon, its bustle fades to the steady rhythm of hooves on the open road. The Cron Hills rise ahead in soft greens and grays, dotted with farmsteads and wind-tossed trees. Hawks circle lazily in the morning air. For a time, the journey feels peaceful, the world stretching wide before you. Yet the weight of solitude is traded for companionship, and every milestone whispers of lurking brigands and stranger dangers that test the courage of all who travel.
Us traveling together alone might not have been the best course of action.
After about 10 miles along Nigby's Run, it's a river called Nigby's Run, you pass quickly through the Etterbach Township, leaving its fields behind as the road skirts the edge of the Etters, a short stunt of hills to your left, on the way to an outpost for the night before arriving at the village of Hamlet the next day. And it's there that you're planning to join up with the caravan. and then make your way onto the city of Enstad, which is another 4 days of travel beyond that. If you stick to the roads and things go according to the course you've laid out, it should be a total of 6 days. Out here, the world feels wider and a little more unpredictable. In D&D, the dice, as we've talked about, can help decide on occasion what you run into, friends, foes, or something in between. So each day of travel, you're going to roll to see what happens. Now that you're passing Etterbach,
All right.
I want you to select an 8-sided dice, or you might hear me say D8, and you're going to make your first official roll of the adventure. Congratulations, John.
Wow. So this is me being me as John right now talking.
This is not one
Or am I
particular
being a
character rolling it. This is you, John, the player, rolling it to see what happens.
I'm going to do it.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. First roll ever. I got a 7.
So this is what happens with the 7 on that roll, John. During a short rest along the side of the road, you've been traveling for the better half of a day now.
I'm tired.
A passerby trader pauses to share a bite with you and some rumors. Heard about an old marsh ruin east of Hamlet. Pauses ruefully, whispers before looking around. Cursed ground. They say lights flicker there when the moon's thin. Then kind of shudders for a second. Enough of that. Packs up their food and goes on their way.
Did anybody get to eat?
So it was a passerby paused, share a bite with you, gave me a
Give
warning.
me a warning or an omen or
And
something.
you're welcome to ask them any other questions.
But they
eat
packed
more of
up
their
and
food. This is
left.
before they left. I just wanted, for dramatic effect, they're not choosing to stay very long, but it doesn't mean you can't try to ask them a question before they leave.
Wait. Okay, so am I John asking
No,
the
see,
question?
now-
Or do I pick a character?
Great question. Exactly. Elwiz and Pal, who are traveling companions together on the road here,
Okay.
who run into this passerby trader. How would Pal and or Elwiz either react or interact with this trader who shares this odd rumor?
So
And I can read it to you again.
No,
if you
I
didn't.
think I got the gist of it. There's something ominous they
Yeah.
mentioned.
Imagine the three of them sitting on the side of the road, sharing a bite to eat, and they've just dropped this weird thing like, heard about an old marsh ruin east of Hamlet, cursed ground. They say lights flicker there when the moon's
So what are we
thin.
talking about here? Are we talking about some magical being that lives there?
Beats me. I just heard a rumor about it, but I know I've learned enough about rumors here on the open road that there's more salt to the grain than
Can
not.
you point us in the direction of such a ruin? And does the ruin contain anything of value that may make it worthwhile to visit there?
Well, by way of direction, you're now headed towards Hamlet, right, which is south. Within a couple days, you're going to be reaching Hamlet. If you traveled east from there, that's what I had heard, where I had heard that this ruin is supposed to be situated.
East of Hamlet. Okay. And is there anything of value there? Is there anything that would make us compelled to want to try to go there in spite of the flickerings of lights and whatever possesses this
I don't
land?
know. I don't know for not if there's something valuable there. Typically, when it comes to these old legends and rumors, that if something's haunted or something's there that's not supposed to be, there probably means that there's also some treasure there too. I'm not someone who could go into a ruin and kill monsters and take their treasures. You two look like you might be able to do that,
it's
but
fine.
that's not my game. My game
Don't even
is trading. In
sweat it,
fact,
you know.
I'm trying to get to Verbabank before the night's out to be able to do my business. So hopefully you're able to do yours.
I'm definitely going to do my business. And can I have some of that bread in your satchel?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I shared with you some of this already, but tell you what, if you want some more of this bread,
I'm hungry. I'm really hungry.
I can sell it to you for a couple copper pieces.
All right, that sounds fair.
Okay.
Here you go.
Great. So you just bought, I'll just say a loaf of bread. We can count that as that's going towards something called rations, something you would have in supplies that you would have when you're traveling or if you're out adventuring that you want to be able to eat when you're resting, for example. You need to replenish yourself.
And that was Elwiz who spent it.
Yes. In fact, keep track of who actually did that.
So that was Elwiz's turn, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
essentially. Or
So,
no?
because we're not in combat. This is just kind of open travel and conversation and whatnot. We're not counting turns. So things can happen back and forth, just like in a normal conversation between two people sitting on the side of the road.
Oh, so Pal could have chimed in.
Could have talked over Ellis for that matter. In fact, you can still
I-
try. If you want to try it, we can still do that so that you get the feel for when you're not in combat or when I'm not telling you it's a turn-based situation. I'll let you know as a DM if something is turn-based and who's going in which order.
Yeah, because Pal was holding their
Yeah, in
tongue.
fact, Palwiz might have been doing that on purpose just to see how
Pal-
Elwiz, comported themselves.
Yeah, Pal was watching. Pal was watching like, are we about to make camp?
Actually,
basically?
but so the way that this travel works on this first day of travel is you're going to be arriving at the first outpost that you already know that it's along the way to Anstad, right? And I think I mentioned earlier that there's actually a village that this road will be passing through in a couple days. But by this day's end, you crest the rise. You've already been traveling for a full day.
The sun's about setting.
When I have you roll for like what's called an encounter, one of a number of different things could happen randomly in that encounter. You rolled a 7. You can imagine that since I had you roll an 8, that was one of different 8 possible encounters that could have happened along the road. In D&D, it could be very kind of, there's a term called railroad, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like what happens. And I'm telling you what happens because that's what I need to have happen in the game.
Like I got stuck on the idea that a roll was to give me points.
Oh, yeah.
The value of 7 was giving me like a certain level of
Yeah,
like
it's
interaction.
funny you say that because sometimes a high roll, players will celebrate. Oh, it's a high roll. It's great. And I'm like, and the DM, I might like flip it and go, actually, a high roll in this situation is not so good. I like to mix it up because I like to keep players on their toes.
No, totally. Don't overthink. Just play. Enjoy.
Yeah. And in this case, you learn now that the dice also created a bit of randomness now to this world that's unfolding for you.